All right. The board preview. Do I have? I guess technically. Nah, I'll wait. We'll do it the right way. I need 4 in the room.
come here. I can't hear you, man. You want to talk to me? Come here. I can't hear you. Yeah, you calling me? Oh.
All right, it's 9:08. The board previously met in closed session under exception C1, C2, C6, C11, and C21. We will be going back into closed session after this meeting in order to finish up some items. But with that, I'd like to call to order the January 23rd, 2024 Waukegan Public School Board of Education meeting. If I can have a roll call, please.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian. Ms. Gonzalez.
Here.
Mr. Riddle.
Present.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Lensing.
Here.
President Ewing.
Yes, the board did.
Yes.
We heard you, Ms. Hannah. The board did authorize the participation of Ms. Hannah remotely due to one of the allowable exceptions. With that, I'd like a motion to go back into open session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Lensing. All in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed,
Aye.
nay. We are now back in open session. Pledge of Allegiance. Be so kind, Mr. Freeland, if you be so kind as to lead us in the pledge.
It's okay. At least it was close.
My president's report this evening, just due to time, is brief. We've had tons of events that are going on, tons of events that are coming up. Encourage all board members to attend as many as you can. I had the opportunity to attend a reading day with United Way at McCall Elementary, and that was an awesome time. In addition to that, I know there are tons of events happening, so I'll be taking my rising freshmen to Washington campus. Yes, I will have a high schooler. Well, I have a high schooler. This is my second high schooler. To the campus. Also at Edith Smith, where we had an expectations conversation around graduation. So I know that those are happening all around the district, and I encourage parents that if you can go, please do, and if you can't, just make sure your school is providing you with that information. I also want to say that while we have gone a number of months without a teacher's contract, that tonight, with the concurrence of the board, I hope that we will be voting to affirm the current contract as presented. One of the things I know we talk about and we've often said is making sure that our teachers are valued and paid for what we're worth. It's very, very difficult. Like I say, this is not what you're worth. You're worth a ton more. But this was a significant stretch for the district, but it's one that is well deserved and long overdue. So I do want to encourage, and I'm hopeful that it will pass and that we will have a contract for our staff members. And I appreciate your patience as you allowed both sides of the negotiations to work through this process to get what I believe is a good contract and in the best interest of District 60 and our students that we serve. So with that, I'd now like to turn it over to Mr. Hinojosa.
Thank you, President Ewing. I will also try to make my presentation very quick because I know we have a full house today, which I'm very excited for. But today I'll be doing my 19th student board member report. About to hit 20 presentations in the last year, which is crazy, and how time has flown by, honestly. But we'll talk about that later. So next slide, please. We're not going to have a statement today. We're just going to go straight to it, and we're going to talk a little bit about election judges, what I like to call the backbone of democracy. So specifically, what is a student election judge? And a definition that came up with is a student election judge is a high school student that sits in the checking in of voters in their respective polling places within their community. This is a big thing that the high school really wants to get to, or more specifically, my AP Gov teacher, Mr. Ashlaw, who actually brought some people from the county to come talk about this process and stuff like that. And we've gotten a good amount of students actually this year from the high school that have signed up, that have wanted to do stuff like this. But we'll talk about the process in a second. Elections coming up would be March 19th, which is the general primary for Republicans and Democrats, and then November 15, 2024, which is the general election. Next slide, please. Qualifications for this is for any student that is watching. I know some are watching, so here are some qualifications. Number one, you must be a United States citizen, be a junior or senior student, be a student in the Lake County Secondary Institutions or Community College, so CLC, public or private, doesn't matter which one, have a cumulative 3.0 GPA, written approval from your parents and principal or institution principal, and complete all necessary training, and we'll talk about the training in a second. Next slide, please. The process and incentives for this. So obviously there is an application that you fill out.
I apologize. Can you pause? We're just getting a little bit of feedback, so I don't know if it's picking up online or if it's just in the room. All right, continue, Mr.
One,
Hinojosa.
2, 3. Okay, there we go. So there's an application you need to complete. We'll talk about in a second where the application is. It's not very long. It's really just your information, so security number, what party that you affiliate with, and just stuff like that. Obviously with signatures from your principal and your parents. That shouldn't be the difficult part in that one. Then right after you give that to the county, they will send you an email to sign up for Canva classes, which are virtual 10 different classes that you take, or sections of a class that really go into what voting student election judges do, the different types, how to work with the machine, how to deal with voters, and stuff like that, really getting into the nitty-gritty of what actually happens in an election. Then there is attending in-person classes, which I haven't done yet, but I need to go check back in my portal and go check when the next available ones are. But you do, and that's really more about like getting more experience on it and how the election machines work and the polling booth and all of that. And the last one, see y'all at 5 a.m. on the election day itself. It is a very long day from 6 to 7 in the afternoon and 6 in the morning to 7 in the afternoon. Obviously just checking in voters and stuff like that and waiting until the polls close, giving all that information and packing up for the day. Compensation is $225, which I know no student would sweat on that specific one because I know we all like money. There is additional monetary incentives, like if you do speak Spanish or a different language, that's an extra, I think, $10. And if you go somewhere outside of your city or county or township more specifically, you get paid a little bit more. So those nice little incentives on top. Next slide, please. So how to start, any student that is watching, here is the links for the specific website. And if you want to contact the county clerk's office, that's the address if you want to go, or the number. I will post this and all my student board member presentations on Instagram in a specific Google Drive file in my link in bio. So if you want to like look through that, or any students that is going through that, there's some presentations there. Next slide, please. And that's it. I actually have one more thing that I didn't add in here because it was very last minute. The high school, I had a meeting with AP Hamilton, who is the assistant principal for student services, me and 10 other students, we made a committee to redesign the high school diploma. And I can say that we have agreed to a brand new high school diploma. It took a little bit of a process to that one, but we did come up to something that is new, much more eye-appealing, and I feel like students would really, really appreciate the new design and would be very proud once they walk through stage seeing that one. It's really nice, it's really pretty. If any board members want to talk after, or anybody in the public after the meeting, on how exactly it looks like in color scheming and stuff like that, let me know. I got the details, and once from that, that's it. Questions, Mr. Progress?
Yeah, going back to the election judges, I see where you had to have a 300-point GPA. Whose idea was that? Did that come from the clerk's office?
If I'm correct, that's something that the clerk's office already had for a while.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting because you got, I'm saying that because you got individuals, seniors and whatnot, don't have not a clue what a GPA is, and they get the same amount of money to be an election judge. So I'm just trying to figure out why the criteria was put on our students.
Is it because they're missing school that day?
I don't know.
Is that part of the reason?
Honestly, that would be, I guess, a question for the Lake County Clerk's office, but, you know, maybe that's something that can be pushed to be lowered in future elections.
And I said that because I think our students are more intelligent than some of our seniors that be sitting there doing elected judges.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Grimes, unfortunately. Yep. I know, yeah, so if you guys want to connect, maybe we can.
Can he answer that?
No, sir.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you, though, Mr. Grimes.
Any other questions from the board?
Are you signed up for public comment?
I'm going to take that as a no, then
no.
I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Wanted to say kudos to our drill team. They had their, not drill team, but JRTC in general, they had their spaghetti and taco dinner Unfortunately, by the time I got there, they were all out of tacos, but it was a great event, and we appreciate the community for showing out and supporting our amazing award-winning JRTC team. So we got special recognition and presentation, celebration of D60 2023, Nationally Board Certified Teacher Achievement.
Good evening, Board of Education, Board President, Superintendent, community, and colleagues. My name is Jennifer Rice de la Sanchez. I'm the Director of Teaching and Learning here in Waukegan. And this evening I'm going to be speaking about National Board Certification. I want to publicly thank Mr. Patrick Cole for annually organizing the communication and logistics of our National Board Certification program here at D60. Since this program's inception 7 years ago, we've had 49 teachers apply and participate to become a nationally board certified teacher, and thus far we've had 4 achieve. Many more are in the wings. The names of our D60 achievers thus far has been Christina Dahl at Lewis, formerly at Jefferson at the time, Erica Jacobo at Washington Elementary School, Lauren Jimenez Salgado was at Smith Middle School, and tonight, Miss Natalie Van Lanningham.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
I would not want to miss the opportunity to note our current National Board Certified teachers within our district. Ms. Gladys Rodriguez, principal at Clark Elementary School, Susanna Martinez, bilingual specialist, Don Coe, chemistry teacher at Brookside, Patrick Cole, math coordinator in teaching and learning department, Ellen Pena, retired, but a tutor at Brookside, Andrea Nelson, instructional support teacher at Clearview, Janet Foltz, instructional support teacher at Greenwood, Emily Gunta, love her, preschool teacher at North Elementary School, as well as myself. Formerly, Mr. Cole would be at this mic celebrating the achievement of our nationally board certified teachers. However, I asked Patrick if he wouldn't mind if I stepped in for this particular moment. Being a nationally board certified teacher as an educator to me is analogous to an actor receiving an Emmy, a musician receiving a Grammy for their work, a thespian, a Tony. And teachers achieve national board certification between a 2 to 3 year process of refining their own practices through reflection and analysis of student learning, through planning for student discourse and student agency, and above all, really pinpointing and defining the intentional strategies and practices that move the needle on the student achievement within their own classroom. National Board Certification also earns staff a Master Teaching Certificate that lasts for 10 years. Almost every educator that has achieved this would tell you that it's the most rigorous yet rewarding achievement of their life, and it's made them a reflective practitioner. Just this past weekend, I was cleaning my basement and I came across old records of mine. And in a kismet moment, most relevant to right now in front of this microphone, I found and I read my National Board Achievement Letter from November of 2010. I've kept this letter all of these years because it does matter to me. To this day, it is one of the biggest achievements of my life. Throughout my career, I've been fortunate to teach and lead alongside some of the most creative, smart, charismatic, and innovative educators. I'm talking about a minimum of 1,000 over the past decades. And in the moment that I stepped into Natalie Van Lanningham's classroom, and I witnessed her educational ease, I knew I had aces in my hand. Natalie is on the top 10 list of educators you cannot miss to see her in action in the teaching and learning. She is relentless in the practice of coaching students to have agency in their educational experience and holding our students accountable for their own learning process and their own learning styles. She artfully plans to have students productively struggle within each of their lessons and knows that great teaching is not the act of putting information into students, but it is the act of pulling information out of students through connection, through intentional experiences in the classroom via complex and diverse texts, student-to-student dialogue, and digital tools for engagement. As a leader on the school's ILT, there's not one problem that Natalie will not suggest solving using data. One would never observe Natalie oversharing her opinion in vain. When she has something to say and to share with the team, her input is thoughtful, poignant, and solutions-oriented. Within the 5 years of my principalship at Whittier and as a distributive leader, I can wholeheartedly say that there is not one instructional decision that I did not run past Natalie for critical friends' feedback. She has a way about her that can remove the emotion from a situation, see the big picture, analyze it, and suggest tangible next steps. I've never taken her skill, will, experience, or fervor for her job for granted. She is a genuine pillar at Whittier. This year, Natalie manages her days being an IB coach and a teacher. Splitting the role of a coach and a teacher is a near impossible feat. And when I tell you that Natalie would not have it any other way, I mean she would not have it any other way. She is audacious and knows that her students need her and that her job is to teach. Her next mountain to climb is to be a great IB teacher to her students receiving an IB education right here in Waukegan. And as a Waukegan resident, she advocates for our community, and as a Waukegan parent, she's invested in the well-being of our schools. I want to say that this is not a job to her. This is a calling. I don't share these sentiments alone. A few of her students say, Miss V is very patient with us. She teaches us step by step to help us understand the topic. She taught us about matter and showed us projects about how matter worked. She gives us options of what to look at and encourages us to think for ourselves. She's really nice to us. Even if you're doing something wrong, she explains to us how we can get better. Alana, 11. She helps everyone to make sure everyone gets their work done. She has fun science things to do. And we are focusing on water and how to learn to get the percentage of water in each country. It's good to have her as a teacher because she doesn't care if it's perfect. She just wants them to do their best. I like having her as a teacher because she's fun, nice, and has great activities for us to do. Maurice, 10. She makes doing math fun because she makes jokes about math and science. My favorite thing she's taught me is decimals. She likes all types of math and made me like math and decimals. She lets everyone have a chance to answer, and even if we get it wrong, she says something nice so no one feels bad. Anthony, 11. The way she explained math makes it easy for me to understand. She lets us sit with our friends. She taught me how to multiply fractions. It was hard, but she helped us learn strategies, and now that's my favorite thing that she taught me. Patricia, 11. She makes subjects sound exciting and fun. She makes it fun to learn. In the GAP program, we use some things that she's taught me in class. My favorite thing she taught us about extracting owl pellets. She made it interesting, and it makes me happy that I could do that. Arturo, past Whittier student. A few of her colleagues say, Natalie is an exceptional teacher and partner. She always goes above and beyond for her students and colleagues. Whenever someone has a question, she takes the time to give an in-depth explanation and works with that person until they understand. She is someone that makes other people feel important and valued, and we are fortunate to have her at Whittier. Victoria and Catherine, coaches. Miss Jenny Franklin states, she's the best. Natalie is not just an amazing teacher and school leader, but a true gem. Her unmatched patience combined with an unparalleled knowledge of science sets her apart. If it weren't for Natalie's science coaching, my understanding of the subject would be about as clear as a foggy microscope lens. She is the science whisperer, turning confusing formulas into something even I can comprehend. Without her, my science skills would be more fiction than physics. She's an incredible coach and supportive mentor, and she leaves an indelible mark on both students and colleagues alike. Natalie, I'm grateful to call you a friend. And it is with sheer love, admiration, and respect that I thank Ms. Van Landingham for serving our students and our families for the past 13 years. And I want to congratulate you. It's been a long road. On your accomplishment of this. Natalie, please join us up here. We have a certificate for you.
Congratulations. Yes, that's
Squeeze in. Jen, come in. Jen. Come in. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, and congratulations again, Ms.
I don't know how she does it. Amazing,
I'd
amazing.
like to make
teacher.
a comment.
Go ahead, Mr. McBride.
Natalie, you came to the podium. I don't know when it was, but I remember you, and I said that I would come over there, and I did. And everything Jennifer described about you, I had an opportunity to see it. I went to 3 or 4 classrooms. You're a very critical thinker. I think you're the one that's been in STEM, as far as I'm concerned. Because your kids, you had your kids in Japan, you had them over in Brazil, and they were actually going through all the whatever they do in Brazil. The kids knew about it. You amazing. So
Right.
what Jennifer said, I had an opportunity to see that in my own self.
Yeah, you are amazing. Thank you. I've seen that as when I've gone to the school for IB, and man, oh man, we've got the right person as an IB coach. Both of you guys. Wonderful job. Thank you. Lucky to have you.
Thank you. And what I will say is I will shout out Whittier. A lot of times we talk and we make different, I want to celebrate the work of our schools. And what I am most impressed with about Whittier is that it's a neighborhood school, right? And so they're serving the kids in their community and really pushing towards that International Baccalaureate status, and we know that they're going to get it. So thank you for all of your work with that program, and we look forward to the continued success at Whittier Elementary. Thank
Right.
you. Moving right along, we have the WHS PBIS presentation. So I see individuals here.
Good evening, members of the board and our community. Tonight we have members of our PBIS team. They're going to be here sharing a little bit about our PBIS work at the high school and also a annual contest that we started with one of our students to design an exclusive PBIS gear that's going to be in our bookstore. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Thomas and 2 of our PBIS coaches, Miss Elizabeth Holly from Brookside campus and Miss Crystal Del Real at Washington campus. And then we have our student Maya here, who was the winner of the contest and design our new PBIS hoodie. So let me turn it over.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Hill, and good evening, board president, superintendent, board members, and colleagues in the like community. We are into the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. We talk about PBIS. You go to the next slide, please. What PBIS at Washington High School? What does the research say? PBIS, when it is implemented with fidelity, school communities thrive. Students demonstrate fewer negative behaviors and perform better academically, socially, and emotionally. Teachers, they report feelings of being less burned out and having higher levels of self-efficacy. And then schools that use PBIS to have fewer office discipline referrals, leading to a more positive school climate and culture. And in addition to that, promoting that positive behavior practice, PBIS, represents a move away from traditional discipline models such as in-school or out-of-school suspension. If we go to the next slide, thank you. If we go to the next slide, our PBIS model focuses on increasing positive behaviors and preventing unwanted behaviors. We want to feed what we want, which is that positive behavior, and starve that negative behavior, rather than solely responding to behavior incidences. PBIS, both proactive, establishing behavior expectations, and reactive, providing supports when behavior challenges escalates. So our PBIS work at the high school is designed to increase positive practices, reduce suspension rate, increase attendance, and increase that student sense of belonging. And I'm just excited because we have two of the best, I call them PBIS champions, that work within our schools, Ms. Crystal Del Rio, Ms. Elizabeth Holly, and I'll turn it over to them.
Good evening, everybody. Today I'll be discussing a new process we rolled out after Thanksgiving break, Bulldog Bucks. So these are pictures on the screen. This was an initiative we rolled out to overcome some of the barriers that we were having with the previous process that we had. So essentially what these do is we still utilize hero points, but these in a sense are physical. So students can earn these during class. All staff members in our building, from safety to cafeteria staff to the main office, everybody has these and all students can earn them. Everybody has an equal opportunity. So these Bulldog Bucks were rolled out at Washington campus. They will be rolled out at Brookside as well. We've had a great success thus far. So I'm really excited about just moving forward and seeing how this continues to go. I'm going to pass the mic over to Ms. Holly, and she's just going to be describing or talking about some of the other events that we've hosted. Again, this is just one of the solution or processes or initiatives we've rolled out thus far this year that's new.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Holly. These are some of the events that we've had that are rewards for our kids. One of the things is Hispanic trivia. At registration, we gave out little kits for the kids. This was a collaboration with the athletics and had like a pep rally for the kids. And then our PBIS school store, some things we have for attendance raffle. One of the things they also did was Buffalo Wild Wings as an incentive for their attendance. Next slide, please. And then we also had like a PBIS kickoff at the beginning of the year. We also gave out backpacks and things for attendance as well. We did a Culver's fundraiser and then have our student ambassadors as well. I don't know. Oh.
And then tonight we do have our student that designed our hoodie. So I came up with the idea of increasing student involvement. So I put out a contest for students to design the PBIS hoodie for me. My goal is to switch up the stuff every year in the PBIS store, and I do send out a survey and I purchase the items based on what students want. So our winner this year is Maya de Santiago, and she's here. And she will also be presenting you all with the hoodie. We brought them all, so she will be gifting them to you all.
I'm so excited.
I'm like, we would also like
Just
slides.
talented.
I immediately saw it and I was like, I want one. Sorry.
We'll have to do
Sorry,
it
I
to
was
the
not.
PBS.
How do I? I was not told I was gonna speak, but I tried to say something anyway. But essentially, I made the hoodie to contribute to the school before I graduate. I wanted to give something to the community and to use my skills in design to give something to the school to keep something fresh within our merch area.
Are you going to go into design when you...
No, it's more of a hobby.
You could make it a career.
No, yeah, it is. I hope to always keep the hobby with me always. I wish she was still here, Natalie Van Lanningham. She pushed me to be more open with art as we did a unit on social studies. I wish she was still here to hear this, but we did a unit on social studies in the 4th grade where we did a movie set, and she had me as the head of the design team to design the costumes and the backgrounds of the. She had a whole green screen. It was wonderful. I wish I still had the video, but yeah, I'm very proud of this design, and I'm so glad it was recognized by the school team.
Good.
So yeah, while they're preparing to hand those out to members of the board, this hoodie is going to be an exclusive item annually within our school store. The only way students will be able to receive this, or anybody, is by earning those Bulldog Bucks. And so you can't purchase those with cash. You can only do that via the incentive. And so by doing the right thing, you'll be able to earn those points. And then you'll be able to purchase this particular item via Bulldog Bucks within our school store.
So next year you got to give the board president the bucks, and then we can make sure that we pass them out to board members so they can earn their sweaters. So
those are earned. And so we have our acronym PRIDE. Those are our expectations for our students within the school. And this is just another way of getting students more involved in the process. And so we want to thank Maya for her design work and thank the entire PBIS team, because again, this is the start. We're trying to improve that positive behavior program within the high school. And this is one of the things that we're doing within our transformation plan to continue to boost that positive behavior. So thank you again for members of the board and community tonight, and thank you, Maya, for that design.
Before you leave, So just before you leave, I have one question. You said it would be rolled out to Brookside. I always have to advocate for my AOEC children.
Look at that.
Will it be rolled out at AOEC as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Outplaced kids. Yeah. Them too. They need some Bulldog stuff.
Absolutely.
all right.
Yeah, because AOEC, just to clarify that piece, with AOEC, like Washington campus, AOEC, we're right next to each other, so we're all together, and so they're synonymous with us when it comes down to this. Thank you.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Go ahead, Ms. Gonzalez.
So will the teachers and staff be getting an allotment every year of Bulldog Bucks, or is it as needed that they get replenished?
They get, we order them from our print shop, and so we have them. We used to do the digital way, and it was another system the teachers had to log into, so that became a barrier for them to reward those points.
Yeah.
And so as Ms. Del Real and her team, we've been talking about ways to remove that barrier. And students were asking, in order to purchase from the school store, I need the bucks, but I can't get them because, and the teacher's like, I got to do attendance and grades, and I got to log into this other system. So this is a way where they can hand those out with more efficiency, and then students turn them in, and basically becomes a currency exchange where we have boxes in the building, they turn them in, and then Ms. Del Real and her team, and they take them and they cash them in, so the student can see on their profile how many points. It's still at its beginning stages, and then our goal is to continue to feed that and make it more part of the culture of our high school.
Well, if we could receive some, we could give out board bucks too. You could go to the
Just
games.
approve that budget and we good. No.
No, I appreciate it and glad to see. And this is what we talk about. Is this one thing to address the behavior? I want to break it down as easily. A lot of times we use very academic language, but it's easier to address the root cause or to build healthy behaviors than it is to change behaviors, right? So I'm excited to see us expand the PBIS program. And yes, our kids still like incentives. I remember we had a group and we went in with just candy, and that little piece of candy got those students to engage with our survey and some of the questions that we were asking. So while they may be big in stature, they're still babies. So with that, I would like to...
Mr. Hill's got another.
Mr. Hill.
I got us.
One sec, Ms. Hannah. I got Mr. Hill at the mic, and then I'll come to you.
Because Mr. Mayoni and I often have a lot of conversations about various things, and one of the things that the whole process of the barrier for the teachers, that actually was birthed from a conversation that he and I had in terms of actually removing that barrier. So we talk about a number of things. They're not always bad, and that was one of the things that he had mentioned about. Let's make it easier for the teacher, and through that collaboration, we actually came up with that.
You said not always bad? Is that what you said?
So, Mr. Philip Mario Mayoni, thank you for the idea.
Thank you, Coach.
things we used to do at elementary school.
Thank you, Coach. All right. Now we have our approval of the minutes of the open. Oh, sorry, Miss Hannah. Miss Hannah.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if parents and community members can purchase the hoodie.
No, ma'am. They gotta earn those bucks. So we'll talk about that though, because you talk about that budget. I see a little bit of a moneymaker there for community members that may want one, but it's a other Bulldog gear. But this one is special.
Designed.
Yeah.
But good question, Miss Hannah. All right, so now we have approval of minutes of the open session board meeting for January 9, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Lensing. Any comments, questions, corrections to the minutes? All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. All right, opportunity for public comment. When I call your name, I'm going to call names a few at a time. If you guys can line up to help expedite it, we do have a long list. When I call your name, come to the microphone, you get 3 minutes. If you need translation services will be provided to you, and you will get 6 minutes. We do ask that you refrain from mentioning staff or student names in your remarks. We want to remind all speakers about civility and just encourage you to stay at the mic. Our first 3 names in order are Benjamin Grimes, Andy Freelip, and Ray Vukovic.
Good evening. I don't want my time to stop yet. I spoke to her earlier this evening, and we're part of the Divine Nine, Mega Sub 5 Fraternity Incorporated. We get scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. My granddaughter graduated there. She's 24 now. My grandson is there now. It's a great, great school.
Yep.
So I will help you apply for all the scholarships. There are 9. They go unclaimed. You might be getting a full ride, but I will make sure you get it from the ones. You got to submit.
All right.
Woo! Thank you, Mr. Grimes.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Yep.
Go.
Yep.
Okay. Wait, I want to go up. That wasn't part of my. Okay, never mind.
Go ahead.
I rise on behalf of my late wife, Virginia Lane Grimes, who passed away September of last year, and she was a principal up in Zion Elementary School. The only one to make AYT. Education is the key. I have 6 siblings. She was one of 12. We all went to college.
Can we pause the clock?
Thank you, Mr. Esley.
Thank you. So
We'll wait 9 seconds and then resume.
we came here in 1978 with MetLife. All right, she had 2 master's degrees. One from College of New Rochelle, New York. The other one, Roosevelt University here. Type 75, et cetera, et cetera. But what I want to talk about tonight is a little history lesson. I came here way back when, and I was working with Al Rogers and the safety department, but I wasn't a safety officer. In 2009, Dr. Batiste, we miss him, Dr. Batiste and others, we had a meeting, and Pastor Francis, may he rest in heaven, said, we need somebody in the community who we can communicate with. Well, Dr. Batiste said he's sitting right next to me. That was moi. I probably would front say. So it took me 9 months. I became the community liaison for school partnerships in November of 2009. Mr. Nick Alajakis was right there with me. He's a graduate of 2000, a former News Sun reporter, awesome young man. The bottom line is, I sent out 50 letters to the tri-community, Waukegan, North Chicago, and Zion. 6 churches responded. That was the genesis of my faith council. I did the faith council by myself for 10 years. And I'm not supposed to mention names, so I won't mention names. If one of the individuals is not here tonight, there are other people who've asked me, why don't you? I stopped it in 2018. I couldn't do it by myself. I was a member of the board of directors of the Hewitt Center. Hewitt in Lancashire was a consultant firm of mine when I was with Matt handling 3 states. They left and said, you guys can go. We're going down to Atlanta. And now it's something else. But it wasn't just faith-based. It was the Park District. It was the library. It was United Way. You name it, we had it. 10 years, and I don't have it all. But I can't do it all again by myself. I'm not going to do it. It's a whole different world out here, but we need it. Our African American boys are suffering the whole system. COVID. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grimes. Go ahead, Mr. Freeland. When you start speaking, your time will begin.
Hello, Ms. Placencia, President Ewing, and the rest of this Board of Education. My name is Andy Freelieb, and I am the Waukegan Teachers Council President. I'm here to urge all of you to vote in affirmative on the collective bargaining agreement. The union overwhelmingly voted in favor of ratifying the contract with 735 votes. 720 of them voted yes, and only 15 voted no. That's a ratification of 97.96%. I'm going to repeat that. 720 people voted yes, and only 15 voted no for a ratification of 97.96%. I'm proud of the union and our district working together to put our students first. This contract is a win for them and for our community because it offers what is necessary to attract and retain excellent teachers. We bargained a fair contract, an agreement that gives teachers the resources and the foundations needed to give students the best support possible. This contract will make our district stronger. I would like to thank those members of the community who spoke on behalf of the teachers working without a contract. It took a long time to put this together. I would like to thank both the district and the union's bargaining team for working so hard throughout this entire negotiation process, and I thank everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vukovic, your time will begin whenever you start speaking.
Yeah, good evening. I hope we can say congratulations that you all will support and follow in the footsteps of the union and get this behind us. It's the end of January. It's time. It's long overdue. I've come before this board, the previous board, and the board before that, and I've often talked about that we need to, if we want to get our scores up, we want to have some consistency, we have to, number one, pay our teachers like the professionals that they are. This will get started in that direction. It's not, they're not going to be the highest in the area, but it's finally going to get them out of the cellar. The other thing that I've often said is you also need to treat them like the professionals that they are. And I've talked about exit interviews. Look at tonight's agenda. You have 3 resignations. One person here 2.5 years, 3.5 years, 6.5 years. Why are they leaving? If they stayed, they would end up with some more money. There must be other reasons than that. You need to find out why people are leaving. There are people out there, you could double their salary. They're not going to stay here. You need to find out why and make some changes on that. The other thing is follow-up. There was only one board meeting in the month of December. There were a few of us that stood here as members of the public and made comments, and after our comments, the board president stated publicly that we would all be contacted by a member of the administration. 2 weeks ago, I privately made the board president aware that I've never been contacted. 2 weeks later, I stand up here and say, I've never been contacted. It seems to be a theme that happens around here. I was following up with the Attorney General's office on a complaint just this morning, and the wording on that here, they said that, good morning, I did speak with the district's lawyer earlier this month and expected a response by last week, but haven't yet received it. Why? Simple things like that there. People ask questions, they should get responses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vukovic. Next 3 names in order, I have Virginia Briscoe, Rachel Mendez, and Nicole Hernandez, in that order.
Good evening. Usually when I come to the mic, I'm talking about various things, but tonight I just want to point out that when I'm out in the community and I meet parents, and usually I don't hear a lot of good things, so when I do hear something good, I like to bring it to the board. I recently met a parent that had to have 2 children that went through Waukegan's school district. One is currently in there. The grade point average of both of these young ladies is 5.2. That is usually unheard of. So I want to congratulate the parents, the teachers for the ones that are doing what they need to do, because when you hear of a 5.2, both of them are in the Schuler program. So, and these are 2 African American females. It's so glad, I was so proud to hear that. So again, congratulations to the teachers for what you continue to do. The second thing is that you mentioned earlier about the program when we did the surveys and the candy and everything. There were some students that put together some pictures, and those were supposed to be posted on the back here in the boardroom. I don't know what happened with those, but those students did an awesome job with coming up with those pictures. If they're not going to be posted here, hopefully in the new boardroom, those pictures will go up, because we promised those students that those pictures will be posted. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Briscoe. That was a Rachel Mendez. Pass. Okay. Nicole Hernandez, and then the next name right after that is Gloria Pruitt.
Hi, I am in District 60, class of 84. I'm here today because I reached out to the staff and everything, and I'm not really getting a good answer on my problem. My problem
Can we
is,
start the clock? And then go ahead. I'm sorry. They weren't timing you. Go ahead.
Okay, my situation is that I'm in the class of 84. I misplaced my diploma. I need a copy of my diploma for a position I'm applied for. December 23rd, I gave the Welcome Center $50 to give me a copy of my diploma. They said they had to send it off to Hef Jones and all this stuff. Okay. But she did not do that. She ended up finding a piece of paper on her desk, and she put my name on it. And when I picked it up the other day, it didn't have, first of all, my high school colors was purple and gold. It was white. And it had me as a graduate of Waukegan West. And I am a Bulldog, Waukegan East. And I explained that to her, and she was like, okay, I made a mistake. Sorry. I'm gonna send off for it today. It's a long process. It's gonna take a long time. And then her boss came in, and they were able to call my job and let them know what was going on, with the situation. And I'm not sure where we're at this point, because it's a 6 to 8 week process for this diploma to come back. Had she sent it out December 23rd, like she said she would, that would have been at least a month, Now she hasn't even sent it out yet. So where am I at? I don't know. And a moment of silence for Larry Tempest. I worked in his office in 1984, and he was a very decent guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicole Hernandez. My email is H as in Henry, E as in Edward, R as in Raymond, N as Nicole, A as in Apple, 048@live.com. I graduated in 1997, for the record, in case people want to give me other Nicole Hernandez's identities. My children are junior and a freshman. And I'm here because I've sent probably thousands of emails to these people, and I've gotten maybe a handful of responses. A couple months ago, I did get a response from one of the board members saying that they had collectively decided that Brandon was going to be giving the response when a person sends out a collective board member, hello, this is what's going on. I don't get responses. Now, I could be mad, I could follow the narrative, the false narrative that we're trying to present, but I have a psychology degree. That's one of my degrees. I have several degrees. I have several certificates. I'm not going to fall for the little game that we're trying to play. it doesn't really matter. Now these people are coming after my children and refusing to let my daughter take the classes that she's entitled to take. I've had to go through the counselor, the teacher, the department chair, and now I'm at the assistant principal. And now I'm getting, oh, well, that's not how it works. If that's not how it works, then why does my daughter, a freshman, have to argue with her teacher, argue with the counselor, have me argue with both of them online over and over again, go back and forth for over a week, elevate the situation. Last week, you talked about we don't know the way to escalate. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. People are doing things illegally with criminal intent, and nobody cares. And that's not okay. So if you guys want to fix something, then when someone sends you an email, respond. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to fix it. I've gone through through all of the, played the little game with you guys, played the little game with the district, played the little game with all of the instructors and everything else. Yes, you guys deserve your raise, for the record. However, the people that are oppressing people is going to stop. It's going to stop, because when I ask questions and you can't answer it, that's blatantly showing who you are, who the fuck you are, and where the fuck your intentions are coming from.
Stop the time.
Oh, stop the time. It's only a second left anyways. Woo!
You got it. You got it. I do want to remind all of our individuals about civility. If you use profanity at the microphone, I will cut you off. Only warning for this evening. Next, 3 names on the list. We got Gloria Pruitt, Maria Owens, and Elizabeth. I'm sorry. Gloria Pruitt, Maria Owens, Elizabeth Owens, and then Anthony McIntyre. Oh, so we had Gloria already. So she went after. Then we got Maria Owens, Elizabeth Owens, and Anthony McIntyre in that order. First name on the list is Maria.
I want to say to everybody that the Fifth Amendment. I'm sorry?
I do want to. Can we reset it? So you want to speak first?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Mr. McIntyre.
The Fifth Amendment applies to minors. It applies to juveniles, whatever label you want to give to the young people. The Fifth Amendment right they do have. There was a situation back in October of last year whereby a culture climate specialist over at Brookside campus went into a school classroom and took out a student, this one, and took her around the corner to be interrogated by the SRO at Brookside. Interrogated in the hallway, asking her about something that happened outside of the school, no bearing on the school at all. The school administration is supposed to protect these kids as if they're their own. And I can just about guarantee you, no administration official, if this was their child, they would have done that. Had she actually been involved in the incident that they were accusing her of, she would have incriminated herself. That is a law enforcement officer at that campus. No matter what label you put on them, SRO or some other label, they're still a police officer. And if they hear something that is considered to be a crime, they have obligations. These kids deserve protection. Everyone who works at that school knows it. We are waiting on someone to tell us who initiated that contact. Who instructed the culture climate specialist to go into the school, into that classroom, and remove her out of it. We've went to every single person that you can think of to ask. We haven't gotten an answer. I'm understanding that the policy of this body is that when we come up here to get questions answered, even if you all don't do a back and forth with us, we're going to find out something by the time we leave or the next day or so. That hasn't happened. That was all the way in October. They came up here a few weeks after that. Since then, no answer. My hope is that you guys will do whatever is necessary to ensure that they receive said answer. Also, the question came up about, does the school district have the authority to discipline SROs, seeing how you all control the bulk of their salaries? My answer that I received from that is no. That being the case, the MOU between the school district and the police department needs to be reevaluated, because if you're paying their salaries, you should have the ability to ensure that they're doing right by these kids. That's my time.
Thank you. Next name, I guess then going back to the order, is Maria Owens.
I've come here, I've talked, I got frustrated, I've went for help. I don't know how else to get through to anybody but actually ask Anthony for assistance. I'm still frustrated, my husband's frustrated. We don't know what else to do. We've talked to the school district about several things, not just my daughter, but my son though too. At this point in time, I don't know what else to do but be frustrated and mad at this district and this board, because you say that we should follow certain protocols on being able to get answers. I tried, I asked, I didn't get answers. I asked Anthony for help. Again, we've tried, we didn't get answers. We were supposed to have an answer over by yesterday. What I got was actually more frustrating, more irritating, and gave me nothing for an answer. Only thing it did was sit there and say that you guys did something, supposedly. What is that something? Because it doesn't tell me anything. Is my child secured for her future on being here and being safe and having the protection of the school to watch for her Fifth Amendment right? I asked the principal at the beginning of the school year when something happened, do not take my child out of a class or talk to her without my husband or I present. I then repeated it when I asked Anthony to be her advocate and ours. They did poll her without having us called, without talking to us, and they never followed up. After that incident, they became completely silent. And from what I'm understanding, as of now, they pretty much told told staff around my daughter not to talk to her. That's very frustrating. She went up here not only to talk to you guys before, but also I came up here. I want and need answers to know my kid is safe.
Next name is Elizabeth Owens.
It's sad to say that I don't feel safe going to school every day. Not only because of the students, but because of the fact that I'm getting questioned by a police officer. And I've gotten told by this said police officer that I almost got one of my friend's moms arrested because I called her because her daughter, my best friend, was being attacked. And then I got told I almost got her arrested. And then shortly afterwards, I get pulled out of class because they're accusing me of posting someone's address. And they kept repeating, saying if I didn't say I was a part of it, and they found out I was, there was a bigger consequence that there was going to be. I repeatedly stated I wasn't a part of it. I had no idea about it until I seen the post. And I've gotten dirty looks from the staff. I've gotten dirty looks from the officer. I don't feel safe going to school every day. Because I don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to get attacked by students? Am I going to get pulled out of class and questioned with wrongdoing by staff? And it's sad that, like my mom stated, she has talked to you guys for help to figure out this situation, and nothing has been done. All that there's been done is that they don't talk to me. I have very few people in that school that I feel safe talking to. And the staff at the school told those people that they weren't allowed to talk to me. I don't feel safe going to school. And the fact that I have very few people in that school that I feel safe talking to, and then them getting told that they aren't supposed to talk to me, seems very wrong. Because how do you want these kids to feel safe going to school on a daily basis when you have staff doing things that are very wrong? You need to work on how these staff are acting.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. The next three names in order are Randy Sabecki, Rayon Edwards, and then Luz Aquino.
Good evening. So one of the first things I want to talk about tonight is hopefully the teacher's contract is approved. And then after it's approved, I'd like to know, and I'd like a presentation on what's our recruitment plan to fill all the vacant positions, not only from outside the United States, but within the United States. I want to know a strategic plan by our HR department and how we're going to fill these positions. Because we cannot keep filling positions with long-term subs, different subs every single day, because our kids are not getting a quality education then. These teachers are the backbone of this district. Without them, we wouldn't have a district. These kids would have nobody. They are the frontline staff. So are our paraprofessionals. So are our daily security guards in our buildings. They are. Administrators are not. And that was my other question. We have so many shortages, and I've said it over and over at this mic. We have so many administrators in this district, and they're top heavy. When are we going to start putting them back in the classrooms? Again, another one of my students lost a teacher over at Benny. We were, as parents, now we were notified over a week later that that teacher is gone now. The other teacher that was gone, the science teacher that was switched to another building, parents still haven't been notified. That is not the same teacher that was in there as the beginning of the year. When we met for parent-teacher conferences, it's a different teacher. Parents still don't know. And I've said it before. We need to take a deep dive and look at these administrative positions to make sure we have the right people in these positions. We need to stop the status quo of friends of friends of friends of friends and bringing them within our district. And then we can't get rid of the people that ain't doing their jobs because everyone has dirt on each other. So then we can't get rid of them because then they're telling everybody else, and then we'll lose the district. And it starts from the top down. We talk about this to this young lady that just spoke at this mic. It's pretty funny because the same thing happened to my student a couple years ago at Benny, where he was questioned, bowled out in the hallway in front of other students, asking about something that he didn't even report. I did. And then my kid was pulled out of class and questioned. So as I tell that parent, and I tell every parent in this district, you let your kids know anytime they're pulled out of the classroom. I don't care by who it is. Counselor, teacher, social worker, I don't care if the superintendent pulled them out. If you're going to question my kid, they are to remain silent, and the only words that come out their mouth is, have you contacted my dad? And they're not to speak other than that until I'm present. Because this is the kind of stuff that happens in this district, and there's no consequences for any of it. We don't get answers, and we need to start getting answers.
Thank you, Mr. Becky. Rayon Edwards.
Well, congratulations to the teachers on this contract. I'm so happy for y'all. It took us a long time to get here, but it looked like we finally here. Listening to these comments tonight, I'm kind of torn in between. But one thing I will say, take them polices up out of those schools. I think all of y'all that follow politics know it's too political with the police departments. They're not an independent entity. They are ran and told what to do by the mayor. Take those polices up out of those schools. Now, when we're talking about questioning those kids, I think we want to draw a line, y'all, because if we saying that the teachers can't talk to the kids or ask them questions, what we got the teachers there for? At some point, somebody got to talk to them if something is going on, but it goes back to that student achievement meeting that we had when we talked about this crisis team. Isn't that something like a crisis? Who's talking to her? And so when I brought up that other student, I'm back there again because this is something similar. You would think the police, being a professional, a trained professional, they would know better that that is a minor and you don't have consent from the parent to be questioning that minor. But we use that SOR as an escape. Because there's no real clear nothing on it. Nothing. Take the police up out of those schools. They don't belong there. They ain't making them no safer. You have 1 or 2 officers in a school with 2,000 students. What is that 1 or 2 officers going to do? Please tell me. Because if you looked at some of them can't even get from one hall to the other hall. And we're just being honest here, y'all. A child stood in front of y'all today and said she is scared to be in the school. So what y'all gonna do? I'm challenging y'all. What is each one of you board members gonna do about that? Communication, we always talk about it. It's the same thing over and over and over and over again. And the sad part about it is the lack of communication is coming from the top brass, who's getting the most money. So exactly what are we paying them to do? And then we have an attorney that is not responding to the attorney general? How do y'all think that make our district look? Despite failing grades, despite almost in the middle of half of a school year and just getting a teacher contract, staff constantly leaving. Every year, staff is leaving when there's a shortage all over the world. So it ain't the pay. We know that. Because they know it's a shortage everywhere else, right? What are y'all going to do? We elected y'all. Please do something.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Lose the keynote. If we get 6 minutes on the clock to allow for translation.
Buenas noches a todos aquí presentes.
Good evening to everyone here present.
Hoy estoy aquí para expresar algo que me parece injusto y no logro entender.
I'm here today to express.
Sorry, can we start the clock? Go ahead, Ms. Luce.
So I am here today to express something that I think that is unjust and that I cannot understand.
No me parece justo que este distrito premie a los estudiantes que deciden tomar una clase menos.
So I don't think that it is fair that this district is awarding students that are deciding to take classes with a lower range.
Y les da un rango más alto.
To take less classes and they give them a higher like GPA or range of grades.
Y castiga a los estudiantes que deciden tomar una clase más, la cual implica levantarse más temprano, tener más responsabilidad. A estos estudiantes el distrito los castiga dándole un rango más bajo.
And they punish those students. So, and they punish those students that do decide to take one more class, which implies that they wake up more earlier. They take on more responsibilities than other students in District 60.
Por ejemplo, hay dos estudiantes. Ambos tienen las mismas clases, AP, honores. La diferencia es que uno tiene una electiva extra.
So, for example, there are two students. Both students have the same classes, AP and honors. The only difference is that one of them is taking an extra elective class.
Las calificaciones son las siguientes. Un estudiante obtiene sus grados A, todos sus grados. El otro estudiante obtiene sus grados A y obtiene una B.
So the grades are as follows. One of the students receives all grades, all letter A grades, while the other student receives grades A and B.
Por lógica, yo pensaría que el estudiante que obtuvo todas A va a tener un rango mayor.
So logically, you would think that the student with an A would be receiving a higher range in grades.
Pero esto no es así.
But this is not the case.
El estudiante que decidió tomar una clase extra va a tener un rango menor.
So the student that decided to take an extra class is receiving a lower range.
Y el estudiante que no obtuvo la electiva extra tiene y obtuvo una B tiene un rango mayor.
And the student that did not decide to take the elective class and is receiving B grades has a higher GPA.
¿Por qué no evalúan por porcentaje? No es lo mismo un estudiante que saca un 90% a un estudiante que saca 99%.
Why don't they evaluate the students by percentages? Isn't the student that receiving a 90% the same as the student that's receiving a 95%?
Además, si el estudiante está en clases de ABI,
especially if students are in AVID classes,
la cual se considera clase,
which is considered a class,
y otro estudiante está en la otra clase,
and the other student is in another class,
la cual solo necesitas pasar o no pasar.
which you only need to pass or no pass.
No se considera como una clase que va a sumarla
It's not a class that's going to be considered summative
para sacar tu GPA.
to get their GPA.
Sí me gustaría, aquí está mi hijo presente, me gustaría que pasara y que él dijera cómo se siente.
So my son is here present. I would like for him to come up and explain how he feels about it.
Este niño sacó todas las clases A.
So this student, he did receive all grades of A's.
Un compañero de él sacó B.
And another classmate of his received B's.
Y el estudiante tiene un rango mayor. No me parece justo.
And that student has a higher range of grades, which I don't think is fair.
Thank you. And we can reset the clock. And Mr. Granda will be giving your remarks in English or Spanish?
Are you going to give him
English? Okay, if we can take the clock to 3 minutes. All right, whenever you're ready and you start speaking your time, we'll begin, Mr. Granda.
So, hello, members of the board. Hello, community members. My name is Javier Granda. I'm a student. I'm a sophomore at Waukegan High School. And so, my issue here is with class rank, how you guys calculate GPA and all of those things that most people that aren't of like my level of like going to college would look at much. So I feel like you guys, due to the credit drop, have just messed up how you guys calculate the GPA. It should be completely changed based off the new credit requirement. I feel like it's very unfair that some of my classmates taking similar or the same classes as me have higher GPAs due to the fact that I took 2 extra classes, quote unquote, since one of those was AVID and the other was seminar or engineering, but the AVID and seminar classes are not evaluated the same, even though they count for the same credit. And as well as me being put with straight A's below others that have 1, 2 B's, 1 B, 3 B's overall. And I just feel like that's unfair overall for me, as well as for other students that may have similar problems. I also feel like you're punishing me in a way, as well as others who want to go to college and actually try to look good for college, but due to like all the changes you guys are making with like credit requirements that don't really make much sense, due to the fact that 23 credits was already pretty easy to get, in my opinion, at least. But 17 just seems like I could honestly take off senior year and graduate earlier, and probably could have done it like halfway through junior year. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Granda. Had 2 names that were added, so, well, 1 name, I'm sorry, Clyde McLemore.
No, he's right here.
Right here.
Did you want to speak still? Yes, sir.
I'm Clyde McLemore, Executive Director for Black Lives Matter in Lake County. I'm sitting here listening to all the citizens' comments, and Tuesday my phone was blowing up about the heat. So I just talked to Mr. Logan and Nick about the heat, because our children was in school and they said it was kind of cold, and not kind of cold, it was cold in there. And I know these some old buildings, and in the future I will hope that when something like that happened, you know, I understand that y'all wasn't ready for this cold weather, but at the same time, children's safety is very important. And the cold and the flu was out here, whatever, the N9, mucus and all that there is coming in, and these children are getting real sick real easy, because you know they half dressed. You know our children half dressed. Another thing was to see that young lady sit here, a student, tell y'all that she's unsafe. She tell you she's unsafe. Now, I said through these meetings about the policy, about the SRO and police talking to her. I sat on that board, and we changed. I thought we changed that. I mean, we went through this with the little brother that got I'm not gonna call his name, but y'all know, because it's a pending lawsuit, when they come and got him out of school. And we still doing it again. And listen, see, so it ain't no color thing, because that was a white little girl. So it ain't, you know, it's just a child. It's a child. And I really felt her. I was sitting over there, and I'm like, she said, I'm scared. What y'all gonna do? What y'all gonna do? She said, I'm scared. She said it almost 6 times. I quit counting after 4. She sat there and said, I'm scared. And I keep repeating it to you so y'all will know, there you got one student that's got enough nerve to come to this podium and tell you she's scared. How many others in there like that? Thank y'all for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. McLemore. All right, it is 8:27. It's been about an hour and a half. I'm gonna just, we can take a 5-minute recess before we continue with the rest of our agenda. All right. All right, if we can come back and reconvene from recess. Ms. Hannah, you still with us?
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
All right, Ms. Hannah. I got 4 in the room. Miss Fabian's making her way back up, and Jeff is also here. And then we're waiting for, waiting for Miss Lindsay. So, sorry, Coach. I would like the entire board to be here. Actually, she's back. So, what I do want to do is I would like to go out of order a minute. I would like to bring up item, if we go down, Mr. White. Oh, no. Yeah, item 12A. Approval of the ratified agreement between Waukegan Community Unit School District 60 and the Waukegan Council, Lake County Federation of Teachers for July 1st, 2023 until June 30th, 2027.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education approve the proposed collective bargaining agreement with the Waukegan Council Lake County Federation Teachers, LCFT, as ratified by the teachers, and to authorize the President and the Secretary of the Board of Education to sign the agreement on behalf of the Waukegan Community Unit School District 60 Board of Education.
Motion to approve.
I so move.
Motion by Riddle. They were a little bit quicker on the draw, Ms. Hannah. Seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion?
I have a comment.
Start at Ms. Fabian, and then I'll go. Yep.
Oh, I did. I'm still a teacher at heart. I still raise my hand.
Go ahead, Ms. Fabian.
I just want to say congratulations as a former teacher. Going through contracts in the past, we've had some times that were not the greatest, and these contracts dragged on a bit, and at one point we even were at a strike. So I am just happy to see that everybody bargained in good faith, that I know it took a lot longer than what we would hope and what we anticipate. But again, just seeing that everybody was bargaining in good faith and that we came to an agreement that everybody, feels comfortable with, is happy with. Again, if it was up to me, teachers worldwide would be paid like superstars, because I know the work that it is, and you're really creating every other profession. So I want to say congratulations. You guys deserve everything that's being received on this contract. And thank you for all your work, especially with dealing with my children, because some of you deserve extra pay just for that. So thank you once again.
Great job. Yes, great job.
Ms. Lindsay.
Yes, congratulations. I am always mindful of what the living wage is. And as teachers, you have gone and gotten a degree, and you are professionals in this field, and you are creating our future doctors. You are supporting our future athletes. You are supporting the future of this nation, and it's such an important position that often gets overlooked in so many ways. So I'm very excited to be a part of the process to give you closer to what you deserve. Like Ms. Fabian, if we can give you the moon, I would give you the moon. But for what we can give you, I'm very excited for this.
Ms. Hannah, anything you want to add?
Congratulations for the ratification of the contract. It's been long coming, and it's finally over. And I hope that that the teachers are satisfied, and that this holds true, that we will be able to bring in more teachers, less subs, and we take and bring our district to a higher level. So, congratulations.
Anything down on that end?
Yeah, I just want to say that I appreciate you, and you deserve more than what you got. And like one of my fellow board members down on the end said, like, you know, that's a art to be a teacher, and that takes some time. And the time that you spend getting to that certificate to be a teacher is much more than what we gave you. I know that for a fact, because number one, 7 or 8 hours a day you have our babies, and that's a job. Trying to and if you're a mother or a father, if you got any sense, when you send your kids off to another parent, you know that's a job for 8 hours, and especially these days, because we got some kids that I think from another world. It ain't like it used to be the old days. And when you're in that classroom dealing with kids, I know it ain't no easy job, and we know it our own self as a board, because we hear it every time we have a board meeting. It's always something that's going on with the kids in the classroom, and we're sitting here hearing it, but you guys got to deal with it. So it was a no-brainer for me to say yes to any penny that you got, because you definitely deserve more. And thanks. Keep doing what you're doing, and God bless you. And I want to say, in ending, somewhere along down the line, somebody watching what you're doing, hopefully one day you will receive that reward. Thank you.
Anything else, or y'all good?
I mean, you know, all of us on the board, all our fellow board members here, you know, believe in our teachers. We've all had teachers. Some of us had been teachers. I was a teacher for a few years, and it is one of the hardest jobs in the world and gets little appreciation, except from the students that you've had. As you heard Ms. Rice de la Chantes read, it was sometimes teachers get to see the students. Sometimes they even meet those students as professionals later on, as doctors or lawyers or whatever, as builders, repairing their furnaces or their homes. So that's appreciation that teachers get. You see those folks later on. But you're doing such an important job in our society, and I'm glad that the district figured out a way to give you that raise that you so well deserve. So thank you so much, and congratulations.
You want me to say something?
No, I just don't want to talk before. Like I said, I want to
Okay.
finish, and I know the superintendent wants to say a couple.
I don't want to sour the. Well, congratulations. I think that this was a really ambitious contract. I won't belabor the comments and reiterate all the appreciation I have for our educators. But I do want to highlight that, you know, we tasked the administration very highly to recognize you all, because we do understand that you are life changers in the lives of our students, and a support system for each other. You know, we're recognizing our faculty that have stayed with us, and I think that we're celebrating that in a way. You know, the way that we look at new external hires is different. And I just want to reiterate that, like all other things on paper, this is not perfect, and it's not the end point by any means. But if you have questions, concerns, to get involved with your union.
I just want to thank the union and the bargaining teams on both sides for all the hard work and the coming together to find a very, what I believe is a valuable solution. One, we are actually making history tonight in Waukegan Public Schools, and everyone that has been part of this process, this is an historical event because it gives us a transparent salary schedule, and it gives us a competitive salary in Waukegan Public Schools. So we are really, really excited for that, and for that I thank you.
And what I hope is briefly, but you guys will bear with me. It comes out to an average of a 20% increase. And as we talked about, and I'll say your name, Mr. Vukovic, going against our agreement, but you said it right, is it gets us out of the basement. So we realize that we have limitations. We realize that we don't have an endless budget, but our number one priority has to be putting it into the individuals that impact our students on a daily basis. And I may have shared it before, and my wife is not here, so I will share it in her stead. But why I know about Waukegan Public teachers, as many of us here, I am a product of Waukegan Public Schools. Many of my teachers still teach in Waukegan Public Schools today. But in my old age, I am sentimental. And Mr. Freeland, I just want to say thank you, is because when you were a teacher, you taught my wife. And when you taught my wife, there was a situation like many of our families, she came from a very tough background. And when she went missing, you didn't just look at her as just another student. You reached out, you called her, you were the only staff member, not the principal, not the assistant principal, not anybody else, but it was you as a teacher, a math teacher, who reached out to her to make sure that she was all right and she was okay. And that's what many of our teachers do every day. So as the superintendent said, this is probably one of, we deal with a lot of crap, and it's not, as you all do too. And again, no side got everything that they wanted. But I feel good about a 20% increase on average for our teachers. I feel good about where it positions us for the future, and I feel good about us actually putting our money where our mouth is, and standing up for, as Ms. Freely said from that podium, what is in the best interest of our students. So with that, we got a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Absolutely.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lansing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, motion carries. Item is approved. Congratulations.
Yes.
So is that lunch on you next time, Mr. Maroney?
No, thank you all. And I appreciate you all. Now we're going to go back up to our consent agenda. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are at item 10, consent agenda. These items have been placed, should be non-controversial and or previously discussed. Any board member can ask for any letter to be voted on separately. At this time, are there any requests? I just need the letter to vote on any of these items separately. Seeing as there are none, then I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda for academics, items 10A through K.
I motion to approve the items as presented.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Riddle. Any comments or questions on the motion?
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes, I'm very, very in favor of all of these items, especially because we have a lot of staff and teachers going out to these professional development opportunities, and I feel like that's another way that we invest in our workforce. So I hope that all of them have a wonderful time and improve their classrooms when they come back.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And then just
Go ahead, Ms. Fabian.
a couple of comments again with the conferences. I just want to make sure that, documentation is being filled out prior to posting so that it's very transparent. We all know what we're voting for. Two, looking at some of the staff that will be out. I understand that a sub is not needed, but some of those are support staff. So I just want to make sure that when we are doing these, and I saw it done today, which is great, that we're doing them with enough anticipation so that those minutes can be fulfilled in IEPs when they are out. So thank you for being proactive on being months ahead on the paperwork. But then the last thing is also looking at some of the paperwork. Some of these look like they've started in November and they're just now making their rounds to getting signed off. So just as a protocol, if you guys can start looking at how that documentation moves, because again, the sooner that you book things, the sooner that you're able to plan things, right? You get different discounts, you're ensuring that there is staff adequate enough to fill the vacancy for that day, just all of those pieces. So just timeliness of all those signatures and approval to getting here.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes, and I just like to say that I'm also pleased that we're getting some instructional coaches and some paraprofessionals positions added for our EPIC program. I think, as all the board members believe, pre-K is extremely important, and we're moving to all-day pre-K, and I'm just thankful that again the district has found the money to add these positions to an area that is direly needed and so important. So our kids begin school, kindergarten, and first grade ahead. And so I think this is going to make a terrific positive effect, for our children in the years to come. So glad to see that's on there.
Awesome. Roll call vote.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay.
Yes.
Oh,
President
wait,
Ewing.
what are we voting on?
Consent agenda academics items 10A through K.
Are those professional developments?
There is some professional development there. Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna pass.
Please let the record reflect that Ms. Hannah is passed, and then if we can continue with the roll.
Ms. Lansing.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at item 11, the consent agenda. Same rules apply. Can we scroll down? There we go. All right, with this one, we're going to vote on item C separately. Are there any other letters that any board members would like to vote on separately? Then I'd like a motion to approve items A, B,
D.
Did we amend?
and D. We're not taking that one.
Oh, okay. I
Okay,
just
I'll-
wanted to be clear.
I'll make a motion that we approve items A, B, and D of consent agenda item 11, operation.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Lansing.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item 11C. So there was a little bit of back and forth. We do have a clarification on at least one point. So if board members are prepared to vote, we'll need a first and a second. I know that there have been questions, so the motion should be approval of items 11C for the facility waiver request for Fiestas Patrias. And actually, if you read the recommended action, it just
Is it to amend?
It is a recommendation that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to approve the facility rental waiver request submitted by Fiestas Patrias. Fiestas Patrias, sorry, has reserved the parking lots at Abbott Middle School, Miguel Juarez Middle School, Washington campus to stage floats, equipment, personal for the Fiestas Patrias parade in the city of Waukegan. The requested balance to be waived is $450. This request information was presented at OSC meeting on January 18, 2024 for future board review and action pending City Council's approval of application.
for parade.
So we
For
are
parade.
So we are amending with that because it's not.
Correct. It's not there because the amendment's coming now. So the motion is as it was read. And so if we have, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McBride. Second.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Riddle. Now that allows for the conversation. Anybody can withdraw their motions at any time. You can also vote yes or no. But I can't answer the questions.
I can't hear you, Mr. Ewing.
We had a first and a second, which allows us to have a conversation, Ms. Hannah. So Mr. Deputy Moten was able to address one of the questions, which was around cleanup. So Deputy Moten, if you would speak to that.
Yes, good evening, members of the board, superintendent, staff, and community. So yes, a question did come up regarding use of the parking lots and the cleanup. We have spoken with the organizer. They have agreed to hire a company to do the cleanup. And I would like to remind the board, per our policy, we don't have requirements for cleanup for exterior events. But they have agreed and confirmed as recent as today that they will be hiring somebody for the cleanup.
More so than cleanup, my concern is safety. That's my concern, safety, because we're looking at a crowd, should I say. And whenever you have a crowd gathering, you should have safety. That's my concern.
Yeah, I would ask Mr. Moten, in the past, I know that the organizations that do the parade have had to pay for police protection to be at the event. So I would imagine that's already included by the fact that the police are, I mean, we don't have our own, officers or safety officers there, but we have police protection, as I understand it, for the parade. And that probably includes the crowds gathering during the parade. So that, I don't know, maybe you could comment on that, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Roto. Typically, that is scheduled, but that is part of the City of Waukegan request. Since the event is not happening on our property, they're really using our property for staging, not the event itself. That's why they have not proposed that as part of this request for the school district.
Are you saying what I'm saying, that the city is not have agreed to it because of the fact there is no safety input involved in this as far as they're concerned?
So, Mr. McBride, this is not the city request this evening. I'm not aware of all the particulars of the city city request. That would be for them to address. But typically, as you have mentioned, safety is a concern they do discuss, and their requirements would still pertain to this parade.
Well, regardless of the city, it's on school property. So if something should happen, we got a crowd of people, if something should happen, who's responsible?
Can you speak to the insurance requirements?
Sure. So we do have an insurance requirement per our policy for the use of our property. If something were to happen, and that is included in the packet. If something were to happen along the parade route that's not on our property, that wouldn't be our responsibility.
Well, again, I'm still concerned about safety. To me, I'm saying that because, number one, we're talking about, I've never been to one, but maybe Carolina, you can share with me, are we talking about 100 people, 200 people?
Thousands.
So that's a concern, safety. If we're gonna have 1,000 people out there, there should be some kind of safety measures on the part of the district that we should know about.
I think that's
But there's
clarification.
also people that
That's on the parade route, though. Thousands
are
on the parade route.
Are on our perimeter.
So we got a
of the parade
couple
route.
questions that I want to make sure the mics pick up everybody. So I'll go to the end, Ms. Fabian, and then Ms. Lindsay.
So the parade route itself is long, and some of the parade route is in front of our buildings, and people are gathering in front of the buildings. The parking lot themselves are the staging areas, so there's a lot of crowds there. So between three buildings, it's hundreds that are gathering there. To your point with the safety, I know our policy does talk about the maximum number of people per safety officers. So if we have X amount of people, we have this many safety officers, but it doesn't make it clear if that is also extended to outdoor and parking, from what I understand, right? It's very clear, like if you have an indoor event, there's 300 people, then you have a safety officer, but I just don't think our policy is clear about outdoor events and having safety. So I don't know if that can be clarified.
Question, Mr. LeBaron, when is this supposed to take place?
September 18th, Mr.
Well,
McBride.
you got time to get back with the board and kind of get, just like you found out about the cleanup. Look into the safety issues of what it's looking like doing this event, and let us know, would you please?
Would you still be prepared to vote this evening, or would you want to withdraw your motion and hold over?
As far as I'm concerned, I'd like to hold it over. We're talking September. We got time for him to do that. I mean, to me, safety is a factor. I mean, I'm only one board member, so.
No, I mean that's fair. But you did make the motion, so you can always withdraw your motion. I don't want to deny you that. The second point is, how many years has this? It's been going on a long time, and the last, at least as long as I've been on the board, outside of the pandemic, they've used our parking lots to no issue.
Yeah.
So I know that crowd control and safety is a requirement for the city, and based on how the motion was first and seconded, it's pending and required for the city's approval. So that means that they'll have to present a full safety and crowd control plan as part of their approval process, which I believe will cover what your concerns are, Mr. McBride. But I don't want to. Again, if there are still questions, I know we had questions related to cleanup. That's been asked and answered. If we still have security questions, I just wanted to be able to have a conversation so that we can go back to the directors of the parade, if possible, with those.
Well, not to belabor this any farther, Brandon made some comments in reference to that this is not the only time. This is the first time I'm familiar with it. So in the past, if you haven't had any problems, my comments, I'll take them off the table and we'll proceed.
So, and my response to that would be, we have brought this forward before. It appears the only difference is they're expanding to 3 parking lots instead of 2. In the past, it's been Abbott and Miguel Juarez, and this year they're including a 3rd parking lot.
Once again, Brandon said that in the past you haven't had any problems with previous issues in terms of parades or whatever they're doing this particular event. So my comments, I'm going to take them off the table and we can proceed.
One caveat being cleanup. So that was something that Ms. Fabian picked up, and they said that they will make sure that they provide a cleanup service.
That's that then. Let's move
right?
on.
I think we have it right. If not, we'll get it right. Ms. Lindsay, I'm sorry.
So I think as this agenda item is presented, it's in line with our policy. What I'm hearing is that we maybe for future events need to look at said policy, because when you have large amounts of people and you have the floats, we need to make sure that our grounds are not adding to the pollution in Waukegan, but they're nice and clean. So if it's something that either they're confirming they're going to have an outside cleaning service or they pay for the custodial staff doing the cleaning after the event, I think that's something that we need to look at our policy for so we can account for any future events, because more and more people, that's going to happen. I'm elated to hear that we haven't had an issue in the past, and we're not saying that that's going to change, but we just want to make sure that that's going to be security and cleanup, that's going to be addressed in the policy. So if we can have that updated and brought to the board for approval for future events, I think that would just make everything a lot easier for everyone.
I like that suggestion too.
Ms. Fabian?
Yeah, so I guess I wasn't clear. My ask was to review the policy to ensure when we're asking for the capacity of people and requiring safety, if we can clarify if it includes outdoor events. And if it does not, then again, that would be a point to review the policy. But the way that it reads, I'm not sure that it does.
Yeah. So clarify for safety, add in the cleanup.
Yeah. That would be my ask.
Which is fine. Would you still be prepared to vote this evening, I guess, is the question?
As stated, not as.
Yep. Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lansing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We did persons and contracts. We got personnel. Is anybody opposed to taking them together? Ms. Hannah, do you oppose taking them together? There's items A and B.
I do.
Okay, never mind.
Yes.
So we'll take item 13A personnel, 123-2024.
It is a recommendation that the Board of Education accept the administration's recommendation to approve the appointments and accept the resignations as found on schedules F1002 and L949.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call vote.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lansing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We have one administrative appointment. We have Kenneth Alfaro, who will be the new manager of custodial general manager.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Kenneth Alfaro, who previously worked at the Lake County Health Department. He will now serve as the manager of custodial general maintenance and operation with a starting salary of $75,000. Welcome, Mr. Alfaro.
Perfect. All right. If we want to go back to the agenda.
Highlight he's an alumni.
Yeah. Bulldog.
And alumni. Bulldog, welcome home. All right. We got item 13B, attendance at the LRP National Institute on Legal Issues of Education, Individuals with Disabilities in Savannah, Georgia, May 5th through the 8th.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent or her designee to approve the attendance of the WHS principals Daniel Hill and Flora Carter, DL K-8 coordinator Sarah Ernest, assistant director of DL Dr. Cheryl Caesar, private day coordinator Dennis Adams, high school coordinators Deanna Butler and Shannon Sarver, transition coordinator Teresa Clark, and director Dr. Gregory Bublitz to attend the LRP National Institute on Legal Issues of Educating Individuals with Disabilities in Savannah, Georgia on May 5th through the 8th in the amounts of $37,991.69.
I motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. McBride. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Yes, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Ms. Anna.
The conferences, vendors are always soliciting school districts for conferences, and it's up to the district or whoever is searching out or choosing to go on these conferences. They don't, just because they're being advertised, that does not mean that that the staff has to go, because all of the people that are gonna go, I mean, they are we gonna have to get people to replace them, substitutes and positions, or are those positions just gonna be left unattended for the days that they're gone? Also, $37,000, and we just approved a conference that is going to happen virtually for I think I can't remember, 16,000 or something like that. And so why can't these people do virtual? Because I think it's becoming excessive that these travel requests and conferences are being attended. It's very unprecedented in the school district. It always has been. It's just started ramping up within the past 6 to 7 years, and we need to get a hold on it, because we just approved a very large amount of money for our teachers, and we need to consider the sustainability of all of the money that's being spent. And so that's my comment, and I will be voting no.
Thank you, Ms. Anna. Ms. Fabian?
Again, I love that there's opportunities for people to grow and learn, especially to think outside of the box. But one of the things I do want to see is, when we're looking at the staff that's going, is looking at the number of days or number of conferences that they've attended and seeing if we could vary it up. You have people that haven't been able or haven't had the opportunity to attend conferences, and then you have other people that are showing they've already gone 6 days out of the district to attend this conference. So I just want to be mindful that when we're choosing who's going, that we kind of give that opportunity to more than just the same people, and that's just my 2 cents on that.
There are no other questions or comments?
You know, I guess I'd make a comment too. I know that PD is very important. I've listened to what Ms. Hannah had to say, and I think what I'd like to see is some rationale from the district as to how much we're spending on conferences out of district like this, and why, and, if we're going to be adjusting that, or if we need to, if this is local money, it's coming out of the education fund, I have concerns too, but the concerns also go to the board members. I think all of us need to take a deep dive as to what conferences we really want to do, especially with what we're doing with our paying our teachers more money. I think this is a huge amount that they deserve. But anyway, I'm going to pass on this until we get some direction as to who goes, and does that include us as well? I'd like to see more justification for sending people out of district. So I'm going to have to pass on this one.
So Dr. Cesario, maybe you can help answer some of those questions this evening, right? So one is, what is the plan for when the staff is out, and the why behind the conference?
Yeah, I think these are questions that have been considered before, because there was that had come up before. And so when we as a team, as an ASAP team, when we look at professional development, that's one of the pieces, is they have to provide a rationale, and they have to also articulate how this aligns to the goals that they're trying to achieve.
Right.
The other piece too, in terms of spreading that around and ensuring that multiple people are going, that's also something that we discuss, as well as the coverage piece, making sure that there are critical people so that are available to serve in the various roles that are necessary. So these are all things that we take into consideration. The other piece is that we review those as a team. We review those requests as a team, and the understanding that I think to Ms. Hannah's point, there are advertisements, there are solicitation for coming to this conference, for going to that conference, and opportunities. But we want to be very intentional with what we're doing. I also would be remiss to say that some budget dollars are allocated for professional development purposes. So I think that's also important to note. I see a hand up with Ms. Lindsay.
Go ahead, Ms. Lindsay.
I wasn't originally going to comment. I was just going to make a statement with my vote. But I think, to Mr. Riddle's point, this perhaps also just ties back to when I first joined the board. We had board consensus to get an update on how admin development trickles down and impacts the students and the education in our district, and we're still waiting, and I've brought it up 2 or 3 times after the fact. So that's where my frustration is. I also see that we have HR coming up and providing presentations that the heads of the departments or the principals are responsible for hiring for their building or their department, and we have contracted services, we have vacancies for our social workers, and if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, that's under the DL department. So our focus should be getting consistent staff members that are employees of the district. So I had made a comment during the Student Achievement and Operations meeting about adjusting the listing, and that hasn't happened. So for that reason, my response is going to be, or my vote is going to be a no on this. And it's not for the other individuals listed, it's because we need people in the positions that we have vacant for, and we have a head of a department that needs to fill those vacancies, and that's going to be a direct impact to our students in this district. So to me, that's a primary. And the information of others being able to join this conference can filter that information to the head of that department.
Yeah, so there's a couple of questions on the table, so I'll defer to the board president. If we need to hold this over, then that's something we can do. I just would like to ask the board that when we're looking at conferences, that it's equitable for all staff. Because what I do see up here is when certain people's name on here, we tend to question more versus other times, and the record would dictate that. And so when we talk about staff retaining staff, we just need to have a uniform process that does not seem as it is biased, and I'm not saying it is not. I do understand that there are questions, and so my recommendation to the board president would be that we do hold it over until we can get those questions answered, because this conference is in May. I also want to state that Dr. Cesario oversees the academic portion of the House, and he would not sign off on any conference that he did not feel is beneficial or did not feel that he could provide the coverage. Meanwhile, our staff members are attending the conference. So those questions in regards to who would be maintaining, overseeing those duties, meanwhile the staff is gone, all of that is taken into consideration. Another thing that is taken consideration just for public knowledge is that we also look to see how many times the staff member has taken, has attended a conference, right? And we look at that per year. And so I do know that Dr. Cesario also looked at that in regards to would he allow this conference to pass or not? How many conferences have all these individuals been on? Would it be beneficial, etc.? So there is a process. It's not just everyone. And lastly, I want to state that we can state up here, oh, we'll send 10 other people, but if it's not applicable to their job or will not help move professional development or the KPIs that are being addressed, that may not be the conference. There could be other conferences, but we want to be intentional on what conferences we're attending, who we're sending, and what they're bringing back, and how they're building the capacity within the district. And so just for public consumption, those are how, and if I left anything out, Dr. Cesario, I kind of spoke for you, but that's how we approach when we look at these conferences of who should go, why should they go, and is it allowable, and can it build the capacity and improve the department as a whole.
Ms.
And
Gonzalez.
Superintendent, I
Ms.
appreciate
Gonzalez.
everything you said.
I'm going to Ms. Gonzalez next, Ms. Hannah. Go ahead, Ms. Gonzalez.
All right.
I was going to reiterate some of what the superintendent already shared, but I think it's important for us to remember that there's a lot of overlap in the kinds of compliance and specialized issues related to our diverse learners, right? With some of the initiatives that the district is working on. Is a conference going to solve all our problems? Absolutely not, but it's these people's professional community, and they're asking for 4 days. I agree that the name should be varied, but I also think that if you're going to be the coordinator of a department or lead the teams that are doing the work that impact students on a daily basis, you have to be the most educated, and you have to be the most up to date about the laws changing, which are currently being changed right now, that impact some of our students. So I think that this is something that, you know, we can go back and forth about, but if we need to save dollars, we need to stop going to conferences ourselves as board members before we limit staff from going and some of our principals from going who are with the kids day in and day out. And that's just something that I want to reiterate, because we can say that the department needs to improve this, that, and the other, but some of these people are only going to get solutions and answers the more that they're starting to brainstorm and collaborate with people who are specializing in this area. So I'll leave it at that.
Ms. Hannah.
I was going to say to, in response to the superintendent, that that professional development can be done in district, and the Triple I, they have legal sessions in reference to special education laws and all of that. And they could have went to that conference right in Chicago. But the big thing is that when they go on special education, administrators go on the conferences and stuff. Where's the impact in the classroom? And the Waukegan School District had the best special education district in the state of Illinois. And whatever has happened, I don't know. But then also, you said, Superintendent, that all of the considerations in picking the conferences, well, it would be nice for that to be shared with the board members so that we wouldn't have to have these conversations. How is it going to impact? What are they looking to get out of the conference? We should be hearing that stuff too. Just to hear that, oh, well, that was taken into consideration. What was taken into consideration? You know, so that's my stance, and you can call the vote, Mr. President.
Go ahead, Mr. McBride.
Well, you know, after listening at all the comments, I don't want to see anybody stagnated when it comes to learning. And so what I'm hearing is a mirror concept. So what I'm hearing is I can't learn neither because of the fact that we're looking at the dollar amount. But I've been on this board for a while, and I've been to several conferences. And there's a lot of things that took place in this district because of conferences that I done went through. And if you want to question me, I can give you some ideas right now, things that I brought back to the conference that's going on right now today in the district. So to me, it's important to go to conferences. That's where you learn, and you meet other people. You meet other districts out there. Things are going on in other districts that you'll never know that's going on in those districts that you bring back and find out that we can use this. I'll give you an example. Our alternative schools. We never would have had an alternative school if we went, or AOC, if we never would have went to East St. Louis to a conference. But we have that now. And then you have your EPIC program. That wouldn't even been heard of if had not a conference that came around. And there's some information I give you on the EPIC program. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. EPIC program wouldn't even be in Waukegan right now today if I had not went to a conference by a lady by the name of Miss Carson, who used to be over that, and Louisa Zink. And now look at the EPIC program. We study talking about now from the EPIC program. We're talking about now all-day school for preschool. But it never would have happened if I had not went to a conference. So I'm just saying conferences are important, and I wouldn't have never learned that if I wouldn't have been around another district from throughout the state of Illinois. And that's what you learn when you go to different conferences. So like I said, it's a mirror concept. When I say you can't go, as Adriana said earlier, I'm not going to tell myself I can't go to learn. But that's what it appears to be, that it's good. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. So again, I voted. I made the motion yes, and I'm gonna stick with that.
So there's been lots of debates. I think it's fair questions about use of resources and finances. And my suggestion to the board is that if that's the piece that we want to look at for ones that are moving forward, we can do that. I'm prepared to vote yes on this item as it's been budgeted. We've discussed it. But again, it'll be the majority of the board unless anybody is asking for it to be held over. But Mr. McBride, you're not withdrawing your motion. And who was Ms. Gonzalez? You were my first. Are you withdrawing your motion? Roll call vote.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
I'm going to vote yes because, from what I've heard and also what Dr. Cesario said, and also I was looking at this more as legal, but as I read further on it, I see that it deals with a lot of behavior, and I know that the DL department deals with a lot of legal issues as well. And I do see there's a lot of folks from the department going, so yes. But I still would like to hear more about how we decide on these conferences and who goes and whether we need everyone to be attending. This is a pretty heavy one, but yes, you've got my vote.
Ms. Hannah?
No.
Ms. Lansing?
As I voted with other professional development pieces with missing information, I'm going to pass.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Thank you all. Really do appreciate the conversation and the debate. We can figure out a forum in order to address those bigger concerns. Item 15, reappointment of our student board member for 6 months.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education reappoint Waukegan High School junior Victor Hinojosa to continue to serve as a student board member through June 2024. Congratulations.
Right. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
no,
Ms.
no.
Lindsay. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Is this going to be replicated with other student board members?
No, ma'am. We did a policy revision, and so we'll be changing the way and the timeline from which is voting. So Mr. Hinojosa is just not just. We appreciate him continuing to stay on, but he will be a placeholder for us to organize and start the process for the election of the new student board member, which takes 2 student board members, which take place starting in June. Right, Mr. We appoint in June.
Yes.
Zakis is shaking his head. Roll call vote. Or all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Thank you, Mr. Hinojosa,
Nay.
and welcome back for 6 more months. Awesome. All right, we are at item 16A, the ratification of the second processing of January 2024 board bills, manual check request payments, Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of January 3rd, 2024 through January 16th, 2024.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education ratify the second January 2024 processing of board bills, manual check request payments, and Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of January 3rd, 2024 through January 16th, 2024. The accounts payable board payments for the period of January 3rd, 2024 through January 16th, 2024 total $1,132,989.58. The manual check request payments for the period of January 3rd, 2024 through January 16th, 2024 total $1,017,462.45. The Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of January 3rd, 2024 through January 16th, 2024 total $0.
Wow, good. Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call vote.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Pass.
Ms. Lensing.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes. Item approved, motion carries. It is 9:30. The committee reports don't have anything that are pressing. Superintendent's report has been listed there for information. So has that been made accessible to the community, Mr. Alzakis, or is that just under executive content? I'm not sure.
Is he signed in? Because
Yeah, he'd be able to see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So.
it's right there.
It is public. Okay, so the public has access and is able to see it. I'm sure we'll be bringing it back. There were new business items. Ms. Hannah, I know you're not here, but do you want to bring that up so we
Yeah.
can get it on the next agenda? Because you did let me know.
The reconsideration, Mr. Ewing,
Yes, ma'am.
can I do that now?
This is what I'm going. Yeah, Kathy, a technical. So, we're before I go to new business. I guess it's old business. So there was Ms. Hannah was on the prevailing side.
I can't hear you.
Ms. Hannah was on the prevailing side of a 3-3 vote related to approval of board member Fabian and McBride to attend the NSBA conference in New Orleans.
New Orleans.
And there were 1 no and 2 passes, and then 3 yays. Ms. Hannah was the only, I guess, official no vote. So from a procedural standpoint, does she make a motion to reconsider at this meeting because it wasn't posted, or does she make the notice now and then we can bring it back? So Ms. Hannah, are you?
Because it's an action item, it would have to be posted.
Okay, so Ms. Hannah, because you are, for the record, so that I have that you're requesting it, you'd like to put a motion to reconsider on the first board meeting in February. Is that accurate?
Yeah, but my concern is that going to be too late for them to make their arrangements and everything?
We don't know, so it'll depend on their capacity, but I think that gives us enough time to still be able to meet the required deadlines.
Okay, it's so, because I would like to I'd like to do a reconsideration vote.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. We'll have that on the next agenda and appreciate you bring that to our attention. All right, new business. The policies have been presented there for first reading. One thing to add for which item?
This is for the bullying policy.
Item A.
Yeah, I just wanted to advise the board that the PTAC and Equity Advisory Committee meeting did meet to review that first reading policy, and the primary substantive change they had was to add reference to social media in the policy, and to be a little clearer with where anonymous reports, the website address for anonymous reports, and then grammatically we have some his or hers that we didn't catch. So we'll be making those changes for second reading.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Again, if there are changes, questions, comments, concerns, definitely reach out to myself and Ms. Vanderbrock. We do have board member time. It is 9:30 and we do have to go back into closed session. We've talked a lot, but I want to respect that time. I'm going to start with you because you're by phone. Go ahead, Ms. Hannah, for board member time.
I just want to say that I attended the JROTC spaghetti dinner. I love the performances by the drill team, and I was talking with some of the officers, and I talked about the razzle dazzle, and I came to find out that they do razzle dazzle. They were doing the razzle dazzle, but they have just changed the name of it. And the razzle dazzle started in 1997 with the JROTC, and it has lasted throughout the years. But now they've changed the name, but that's okay, but because they're still doing it. And I really enjoyed that. The food was excellent. I have a concern in reference to the student that came before us before and that also spoke tonight about what she is enduring at the school building, and I wrote down SRO intimidation, staff intimidation, and it equates to bullying. So there's many forms of bullying, and if that student is not comfortable, then we need to find out what's going on over there. And because no child should be in the school where they're uncomfortable. I mean, it's bad enough that many of our students have to endure the constant fighting and stuff in the building, but we need to find out what's going on, and we need to stop it, because that's our job, to protect the students, as it was already said. And there was one more thing. I can't remember right now, but anyway, I know the new law that was put in to effect for the vaping in public places. Has there been any type of conversation or plan to eliminate the vaping going on in the school building. And I certainly hope, with the concurrence of the board, that we agree to have the administration devise a plan for what they're going to do to stop the vaping in the school, because it is now a state law. It's prohibited. So we need to hopefully have something that the board can see pretty soon. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Ms. Gonzalez.
I didn't want to share too much, but I hope that the month has been going okay for everybody. I did want to share that for any high school seniors that are on track to graduate this year, are on the lookout. In a couple weeks, our scholarship for the foundation for the Waukegan Strong Scholarship will be live. So we hope to get the word out, and there will be a presentation that the foundation will make so that a lot of people are aware. And that's it for right now.
Mr. Riddle.
Thank you to all of our teachers and all of our staff and everyone involved in the teacher contract. Thank you, Mr. Hinojosa, for bringing up the information for judges. I hope we get some of our students as judges, so thank you for bringing that forward. And congratulations on being renewed for 6 months, and thanks for volunteering to do that. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's late hour.
Mr. McBride. Ms. Lindsay.
So this is a follow-up to the commentary around our SROs, and we have a 1-year agreement in place, and we really need to start looking into that. When I campaigned, I was very anti-SROs in the buildings. And when there was a larger discussion during the pandemic, I even spoke during one of the board meetings to remove the officers. What had changed my mind, potentially, was meeting Officer Mike Jones, who was a positive influence and great to our students. And from my understanding, at that process, SROs were interviewed to see if they are appropriate to be in our buildings. And so I also have heard from staff members that they want the SROs in the buildings. There are staff members who have also reported problematic behavior from the SROs, and there seems to be no recourse that we have as a district to hold them accountable for misbehaviors. So this is something that I'm going to expect on agenda for us to have conversations about what our expectations are. If this needs to go back to committee, fine, but we need to get on the ball and be proactive. Time is going to run out. We need to have these discussions so we know what's happening next year once this contract runs out. In addition, it was a little disheartening to hear that some people aren't being followed up with after their public comment. So hopefully that's corrected. That seems to recur more and more. And then for accountability purposes, I have not been able to attend a lot of district events, whether it's at the administration level or at the building level. So I do apologize. I've been handling some things on another front, but I do look forward to re-engaging with the district in that way. So I apologize if I've missed your events, but I am looking forward to those that are coming. Thank you.
Ms. Fabian.
And I'm going to try to be brief, just because Mr. Grimes is still here, and I know he wanted to get out his message about needing help to reorganize the Faith Council. I attended those meetings, and they were a wonderful gathering of information and resources. So do you mind if I give out your email, Mr. Grimes? So if anybody's willing to help Mr. Grimes get that restarted, obviously I support you. It's bgrimes@wps60.org. Please reach out to him and see if we can get that community built back up again. And then we have two events on February 3rd, and so I just want to announce them really quick because we're not going to be back before then. And one seems very early, Valentine's for Vets, so we're already thinking about that. It'll be February 3rd at Brookside Gym from 8 to 12, and the community is invited to create Valentines. Again, this is for our JRTC, so I continue to support that program. It's done great things for my own children. And then same day, from 11 to 1, our park district is having soul food with Sylvia, and she was also a former educator here in Waukegan Public Schools and does a lot to really bring out more information on African American history. So they're going to do soul food with Sylvia at the Jane Addams Center at Bowen Park from 11 to 1.
Sorry, clarification, just so we know. The Valentines that we're making for veterans, have that done before the 3rd, or we're doing them on the 3rd?
Yep. So JRTC
Beautiful.
sets up everything, provides all of the supplies, and you create Valentines. And I realize I have a future job at Hallmark should I need it.
Awesome. Very, like I say, productive meeting, a lot of conversation. Echo Ms. Lizzing's point about the follow-up continues to be a reoccurring issue. I know we made that public statement, and I'm making it again. The expectation is that somebody's reaching out. And if we are, maybe if we just, for accountability purposes, have to include a board member and do a report out, because it seems to be a lack of closing the loop, and I don't know on one end or where that's happening. So as opposed to placing blame, I just want us to solve the issue. I'll be talking to the superintendent because I also want to be transparent. What appears to be a little bit, and I won't say a little bit, a lot of it, there was information sent to the board asking for feedback on the goals that we had agreed to. The expectation was that if we didn't receive any feedback,
Brandon, you're not talking in the microphone.
the expectation was that if we received any feedback that it would, didn't receive any, it would come forward on the board agenda. For whatever various reasons, that did not happen in December. We are supposed to be evaluating the superintendent in March, so we'll figure out a date in order to get those approved and what the next steps in the process will be. Also was brought to my attention related to our board agreements. So we had talked about them. They are still sitting out there and pending, but we have not actually voted on them. If there are any additional recommendations, please look at them this week. Otherwise, they'll be added to the consent agenda at our next regularly scheduled meeting, unless we have to do a special meeting for a reason. With that, I'd like a motion to go back into closed session under exception C11, actual or threatened litigation, and C21, approval of previous closed session minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Gonzalez. We'll be dismissing immediately after our closed session. Roll call vote.
Mr. McBride, Ms. Fabian,
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Riddle,
Yes.
Ms. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Lensing,
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries.